Good morning, Rock Solid Church, and everyone else that's watching. Just come to you this morning, and we're so thankful for that which the Lord is going to do today. We look forward to it all. And today, as we're going to serve the people that work at the nursing homes in Columbia County, we'll be serving a little over 300 meals today that we're going to go and deliver to all of those that keep on working diligently in serving those that are most at risk as we walk through this time and season. And I just want to say thanks to all of those that are volunteering and watching the Word of God go into effect through the works of God that come through each one of our lives. And this morning, as we've been talking about the words in red, or about the words of Jesus Christ, which are the most powerful words on the planet, Jesus said in John chapter 14, do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God and believe also in me. And then he says in verse 6 that I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except by me. And then we go down to verse 10, and he says, do you not believe that I'm in the Father and the Father is in me? And the words that I say to you, I do not speak of my own initiative, but the Father abiding in me does his work. And here Jesus he's asking the question, but he's making a statement at the same time. He said, do you not believe that the Father is in me? He explains, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. He says, in my Father's house, there are many rooms, and I'm going to prepare a place for you. He's qualifying all of this, and he's trying to get them to believe, when you see me, you see the Father. The only things that I can do is what I saw the Father do. The only thing is I'm going to speak are the things that we have spoken eternity, or I'm going to speak those things that bring life and life more abundantly. As we walk through today, I was thinking about that abiding. He's abiding with the Father, and you have a flavor or an essence about you by what you abide in or where you abide. And the fruit that will come out of your life will be determined so much by where you abide or what you abide in, because we can only do what we know. And as we walked it out, growing up in a plumbing household, we could tell there were certain, when we walked in, my grandfather walked in, there was a certain, you could tell he piped dope on his hands. There was a smell that came, and you knew, oh, hey, Pop, and you knew what he was doing that day. When my parents were racing when we were younger, wherever we were abiding, they were racing snowmobiles all winter. And we were little kids going to the track with them all the time. But that smell of the burning of the fumes, whether it was running a regular high test or even some alcohol burning sleds, the old dual track Manses, when they would come out, there was a certain smell that would go in the air. And everyone was thinking about one thing, and that was racing. When we were working on roads and stuff, the smell of blacktop, wherever you were hanging out, wherever you were abiding, you could tell when they walked into a room. Where even today, I'll be driving down the road, and the wind would blow into the car. Because, wait a minute, there's somebody racing, there's somebody burning that fuel, and you remember that there's a flavor to it. And everyone that was at the track with my parents, they all talked the same talk. Whether they were running cats, skidoo, the Mercuries, when they come out, the Rups, whatever they were running, everybody was talking about the same thing. There was a discussion, and everyone around, there was a buzz, and everybody knew the lingo. Everybody knew and understood, what was happening, whether you're running carbides or whether you were, how many cleats, whether you're running the bars across the bottom or the tiger claws you were screwing into your track. And for those that never race snowmobiles, I know that'll be foreign to you. But it was to give you an edge. It was to make your sled a little bit faster. It was to have the newest knowledge and understanding, of what was out. But every one of them had the same aroma. Every one of them had the same speech. Every one of them had the same desire. And I believe that's what Jesus is saying. I only have one desire. I abide with the Father, and then his works come through me. I abide with the Father, and then the power of his word, as I speak it, becomes made manifest on the earth. And I want to have the aroma of Jesus Christ, where the aroma of Jesus, yes, he came in and he said, you have heard what I say. And I want to have that aroma that it's the love of God, it's the peace of God, the mercy of God, the grace of God. That no matter where we walk, people hear about life and life more abundantly. As we walk out this day, you have an aroma, or you have a speech, and we can tell where you have been abiding by the speech. We can tell where you're abiding by what we're putting our hands to. We can tell all of these things we can see. And Jesus is saying, don't you understand? Can't you see the Father in me? And so that's the question for each one of us as we walk this out. No different than as Jesus said, do you believe I'm in the Father and the Father is in me? We got to ask ourselves that question. Do people see the Father in us? Am I abiding in the Father? Because if we abide with the Father, like as Jesus said, I'm the vine, you're the branches, and abide in me, and therefore you can only draw from the vine. All the branches draw the same thing. That love is the same for each and every one of us. And when we grab a hold of that reality and that truth that He is for us, that He's not against us. John 10:10 says that I came that I came that you would have life, and you would have life more abundantly. You see, when we abide with the Father, that truth becomes ours, and we start to live an abundant life. And that abundant life is a life of freedom. It's a freedom so that there's forgiveness to everyone who's offended us. There's a freedom that whether we abound or abase, whether we have a lot or a little, we still have great joy in the Lord who supplies all of our needs. And we have a great hope in our hearts that we speak about. And we speak of these things. When we get together as sons and daughters of God, we speak of these things. Let the world speak of the things of the world, for they haven't changed. They're still temporal, but our words need to be eternal. The world is selfish. Our words need to be selfless, where we would lay down our lives for our brother. And so today, as we look at John 14:10, and it says, but the Father abiding in me, or I'm abiding in the Father. He's living through me. Let's allow Him to live through us today. What a great day to be alive. What a great day to enjoy the presence of the King of Glory. What an amazing day that He has given us to abide in Him, draw from Him. Whatever's lacking in you, whatever was lacking last night, right? Weeping comes in the evening, but joy comes in the morning. And our prayer for you is that joy would well up on the inside of you. Allow the Father to abide. Allow the Word to renew the mind and abide in you. Let us have the aroma of heaven as we walk, and let us speak the words of life everywhere we go. For we are the sons and daughters of God. We are those that are called by God to live out our lives here on the earth, so that all of us are saying the same thing. Jesus Christ is Lord. And through Him and Him alone is there salvation for everyone that calls upon His name. He's got many rooms. He's got all power and authority. He said it's all for you if you would believe. Let's believe this morning and trust in His word. Let's abide in Him this morning and allow the power of the Father to abide through us, that other lives are changed. God bless you. Have an amazing day in Jesus' mighty name.